Hi folks, I'm baking a loaf of sourdough with charcoal. I've got my little 1 liter Petromax, I think is the name. It's a German cast iron Dutch oven. It's the smallest one I could find. Uh, it works fairly well. This is it's not PBR. I don't have a Sunday beer. I'm out. And it is Sunday. It's actually Easter Sunday. Um, but I'm baking this with charcoal in it's my loaf of sourdough, and I'm baking it with in this cast iron Dutch oven. Whoop, come on, turn. And I just did the second turn. With the if you're going to use a cast iron Dutch oven, you need to, you don't have to, but you can have a campfire out there and pile coals around it and just have it cooking there in the campfire. But it's a lot more efficient, especially if you're using charcoal, to put it in a tray. And so I have a stainless steel dog bowl here. And that's small, but my Dutch oven is very small. And my loaf of bread is going to be about that big when I'm done. But every 15 minutes, you need to turn the oven, rotate it 90 degrees, and then on the lid, because you got fire on the lid too, you want to rotate the lid the opposite direction 90 degrees. So the lid always stays in the same place. But the Dutch oven itself, the pot, it rotates 90 degrees in a circle. And what this does is whatever you're cooking inside there will have a lot more uniform heat. And if you rotate every 15 minutes, it usually works pretty good to give you a nice even baking uh, uh, temperature, so you don't have hot spots. That's the idea, just to avoid hot spots. Somebody's coming in. I am at campers for the evening are coming in, I guess. Um, I was here last night and I spent the day here. Uh, I'm at Sage Creek Campground in the Badlands National Park. And you hear that little chirping, chirp, chirp, chirp. That's these flippin' little ground squirrels, ground rats. They're prairie dogs. And this campground's right in the middle of this prairie dog village, prairie dog town, whatever they call it. I don't know. They seem to be social creatures and they live together in these areas. And I don't know what they call them, but I don't know what people call them. But it used to be they would be a prairie dog town. Now I don't know what they call them, but there are bunches of them here. And there's a sign right over there that says this that they found the plague in the Badlands amongst the rodents including prairie dogs. And so they said, don't be going over there handling them. I don't know how you'd ever catch them to handle them, but you don't want to be messing with them. I don't intend to do that. They're sassy little creatures. There are also buffalo here. I mean, some big buffalo. I made a video yesterday, but it was just too much wind. You couldn't make out half of what I was saying, so not that it makes any difference, but I decided not to post that video. It's less windy today. And I've got my little microphone on here. I actually, if I think of it, if I remember, I will give you a 360 view when I'm at the end of the video. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 other campers here. 8 other camp setups here. Some of them have multiple people, but most of them are just one person. There's a family right next to me. It's 2 young children, and they seem. I applaud the parents bringing the children out camping. They're tent camping, and people are tent camping and paying no notice to the prairie dogs. So I guess they're not too worried about the plague. But I'm sitting here cooking sourdough on the ground, so I guess I'm not too worried about it either. But I'm in South Dakota. This is in South Dakota. Beautiful day. It's Sunday, as I mentioned, and I was planning on going to see Wounded Knee today. The Wounded Knee monument or whatever's there. I don't know. Wounded Knee was one of the most horrible things that ever happened in this country. Nothing like today's politics. This was a real thing. They were out there. The government was out killing people in mass, trying to exterminate people. And that was the United States government doing it too. But it's a wide open campground, a wide open area. This, you can see a little bit in the video now, but all of that across there, the sky just goes on forever. It's great. But they're buffalo here. I was going to tell you, a bison. I think the term is supposed to be bison, but I grew up singing "Where the Buffalo Roam," that Kansas theme song. I learned them as buffalo, and I guess now that's not the correct term, but I don't know why. I don't care why. I'm going to continue to call them buffalo. If you like bison, then piss off. And I had buffalo burger yesterday at Wall Drug. Look it up, Wall Drug. It's a place. It's kind of a cool place. Yeah, it's just full of souvenirs, but you can get a buffalo burger there. And fries. And a small soft drink for $20. I splurged. That's the first time since I left on this trip that I ate food that someone else prepared. But it's I'm sort of in the southwest corner of South Dakota, and I plan to go past Mount Rushmore, but I also want to see Crazy Horse. Crazy Horse is the main thing I want to see. But then one of you mentioned Wounded Knee. I didn't know it was right here. It's actually fairly close to where I'm camped, so I do want to see that. But the buffalo, there was a buffalo came by yesterday after I got set up. A great big bull. I don't remember if I made a video of being in that park in Texas that has buffalo, but those things were small in comparison to the ones here. This bull that came by yesterday was absolutely huge. And you've seen the videos probably of where the people get out there to take selfies with the buffalo and get in trouble and get tossed in the air and all kinds of things. You don't want to go close to the buffalo. And I don't go bother the buffalo. I don't do that. But this silly thing, you see that? There's a picnic table right there. I'm in spot 2. That's spot 1. 20, 25 feet away at most. That big, heavy post, it's about 10 inches across. It's like a telephone pole. That's what they use for the numbers, for the campsite numbers. Why do they have such a heavy, heavy pole? Most of the campgrounds you go to, and they have this little metal thing that you clip your ticket to, for your camping ticket to say this is my site. In one way or another, they're numbered, but they're usually a little big. These things here, the poles are that big. Well, why? I found out. This big bull buffalo came up there and gives himself a good hard scratch on the silly pole. I saw one of them over there is completely broken. No, I see there are 2 of them that are broken off. And I wondered, how do you break those things off? You're not gonna, you'd hit them with a car and you'd tear your car up. Well, buffalo like to scratch them. They're scratching posts for buffalo. So it came up here within 20 feet of me. It scratched its nose on the bench for the picnic table and then walked over and gave itself a good scratch on that pole that says that's campsite number 1. And I'm sitting here on campsite number 2, and I know I'm not supposed to go chase buffalo. I'm not going to go up try to get a selfie with a buffalo. No, I'm not foolish. I grew up on a farm. I know what a bull will do. But what do you do when the things come to you? This thing walked from that meadow over there, came directly towards me, stopped right there, 20 foot away from me, scratched itself, and then walked across the road. It was just showing off, I guess. I don't know. But this is a nice campground. It's quiet out here. There's no internet signal at all. I've been texting back and forth with my wife, but I use a little, it's called a Garmin InReach Mini 2, and it's satellite. It's text messaging for satellite text messaging, basically. And it's also got an SOS button on it. So I push the button and I get the helicopters coming in, theoretically. I paid for an insurance plan to come get me if I hit that button. It's beautiful out here. It's a little cool. Inside my truck, in the back of my truck, out of the wind, it says 70 degrees, but you don't want to be out here without a coat or something. I've got my poncho on, of course. The wind is really strong. I wish I could post the video from yesterday, but it had so much wind noise, I just don't want to do that. But anyway, I'm on my adventure. No PBR, so I can't have a Sunday beer. It's Easter Sunday. So this is where I'm spending my Easter Sunday. And you might think that's sacrilegious to be out camping on Easter Sunday, but Enoch walked with God and was no more. As long as I focus on doing that, I figure I'm all right. So today, it was kind of interesting. There was a young couple had a travel trailer. They showed up yesterday when I was on top of a butte, I think is what they call them. They're hills. But I saw a sign that it said when you go out hiking around in the buttes, which I don't know what else they could be talking about. So that must be the butte. They arrived yesterday, and I was on top of that one over there. I'd actually walked. I surprised myself I was able to get up there, but I did. And I saw them as they came in. They parked right over there. They were friendly, and um, I was messing with something. I forget what it was, and I told them I worked with silver. They stopped to visit. Well, they came by this morning, and I spent the day, most of the day anyway. Afterwards, I took a nap, and I woke up at about 4 o'clock. Uh, but from the time I finished breakfast, basically, until I went to take a nap, he was making one of these, a little hammered cuff. I had made a piece of sterling silver with, I had alloyed it. I'd mixed the fine silver and the copper, melted it down and poured it out, and then rolled it out into a strip about half an inch wide, about 6.5 inches long. And that's what I used to hammer a cuff like this. And he was interested in learning, so I let him hammer a cuff for himself. And I don't know, I think we were doing this for at least 4 hours, maybe longer, probably longer. And he ended up with a very nice little bracelet. And it'll last him most of his life, if not all of his life, if he is a little cautious with it. It's good metal, but you can tear them up if you get rough with them. But anyway, he got a pretty fun experience. So I guess you could consider that walking with God. That was my day. I'm sure I will offend some of you, but I'm not too worried about that. But anyway, let me show you around, because the sun's going behind a cloud. That'll make it so you don't get a lot of glare. And my phone's sitting on the ground. You see that stuff off over? I went the tallest one, that big tall thing over there. I don't know how tall it is, but it's pretty tall. I made it all the way up to the top of that, and some of it was steep. And that's where you can see the ground is all tore up. That was where his hooves were at. He was digging in. Over there is, you can see where the water is kind of cut through into the dirt. That's the stream, the creek. And then this is the rest of the campground. But this big old bull that came around yesterday that wanted to show off scratching, he came around today for a little while and just sauntered right through the middle of the campground. In fact, he went over there and was getting friendly with the young man and lady's travel trailer while we were over there making a bracelet. This bull went over there, and he didn't damage anything, but he was asserting his dominance. Whereas I went over there to the far, I actually crossed the stream. There's a little place over there where you could cross the stream without getting wet or muddy. And there was a bull buffalo over there. And there's also 3 more buffalo that I didn't see right away. But when I came up out of the stream onto that meadow, or whatever you call it, that bull saw me, and his tail shot up in the air, which that means they're feeling threatened or alert or something like that. And then it was watching me really closely, and it took off running. Now, it never got close to me, but it was definitely alerted. And I don't know if it would attack me or not. I decided I don't want to be anywhere near that one. And I wasn't close, not until he started running. So it ran over to this place where I thought I'd seen another buffalo go. And that was close to where I needed to cross the stream. So I was watching, looking, because I'd lost him. I didn't know where that second buffalo was at. So I had to cross the stream and come back over here. It turned out there were 3 of those silly things tucked down in a little depression. They say you shouldn't go take. I'm not going to go out there and try to get a selfie with the buffalo. I'm trying to let them have their space. But they're all over out here. They say you can go wandering out here and go hike in these. Where I was at, you can actually go camping out there if you want to backpack out there. There's a log book over there for people who want to go disappear out into the wilderness. I don't know if you get a buffalo coming around. They tell you don't go close to the buffalo. Well, I don't go close to the buffalo, but what do you do? What happens if they come close to you? I don't know. Anyway, I plan to be here. I plan to spend the night. I'm going to finish baking my sourdough, and then I may make a little chicken stew or something to go with it. I'm not sure yet. Tomorrow I will start exploring the area. And this campsite is free, and free is good. There are more campsites in National Forest over closer to Crazy Horse and Mount Rushmore, but most of those are like 20 to 20. I think the most expensive one I saw was $26. They have vault toilets, no electricity, and no showers, which is exactly what I've got here. So if I can drive a half an hour to see all of what I want to see, and then come back here and not have to pay for a campsite, I think that's probably what I'll do. Because I don't really want to pay $25 for nothing more than what I have now, when I can get what I've got now free. So anyway, that's the plan. I have no internet signal. I did have a signal when I went up on top of that butte. So when I leave here, I should have a signal again, and then I can upload videos and things like that. I'll do that tomorrow. But anyway, that's where I'm at, what I'm doing now.